Shalom, shalom. Man, I'm back. We're back. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute, man. It's crazy, man. I got butterflies. You know what I'm saying? Been dropping the ball lately. Me personally, it's been a minute since I did a video, just a sit down video by myself. And we've been dropping the ball as a camp, cause we haven't even been. I think the last 2 Shabbats, man, we just been going straight out there to camp and the highways and byways, and we haven't been uploading our normal Sabbath lesson videos, man. But hopefully this will be edifying. This is Brother Darnall, right, back with another edifying lesson with the hopeful elect. Yes, it's going to be a quick exhortation on the importance of the honeycomb in the Bible, right, and understanding the parallels and the allegories used with honey, right, throughout the scriptures, right, and hopefully this will be very edifying. Shalom to everybody that's jumping on here, and so we really just gonna get right into it, right. But first and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Abba Nawa Yahweh Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahushai, right? That's the Father in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which we know as Yahushai. Some people know Him as Yeshaya. Yahushai meaning He shall save, because He's going to save His people, right? And that's the main part of the gospel, right? We're gonna jump right into the lesson today. I won't be before y'all long, man. Y'all know I'm not very long-winded. I get straight to the point. The benchmark scripture today is going to be in Psalms, right? So Psalms 19:7, and it reads, "The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple," right? So now we're going to find out what honey really stands for throughout the scriptures, right? With this benchmark, right? Keep in mind what it said. The law of the Lord is perfect, right? Reading on to verse 8. "The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes," right? Going down to verse 10. "All these things are more to be desired than gold, Salakia, than much fine gold, sweeter also than the honey and the honeycomb," right? So what is it saying that's sweeter than the honey and the honeycomb, right? If we read verse 7 and 8, it says the law of the Lord is perfect, right? Then it reads, "The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoice in the heart." And then what's after that? "The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes," right? So the law, statutes, and commandments are parallel and parabolic. Honey is parabolic to the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And we see that right here in Psalms. And really it says it's sweeter than the honeycomb, right? It's sweeter than honey. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we read the Bible and we miss little things, right? Because the Bible can be taken in manifold, right? There's only one what's the word I'm looking for? One interpretation, right? But it's manifold, right? And as long as it flows throughout the Bible, right, then you can understand going precept upon precept, line upon line. Let's go to this next scripture real quick. It's in 1 Samuel chapter 14 and verse 29. 1 Samuel 14 and verse 29, right? "Then said Jonathan, my father has troubled the land. See, I pray you, how my eyes have been enlightened, because I tasted a little of this honey," right? What is this honey that it's talking about? It says, shalom, brother, right? What is this honey that he's talking about? He says, my father has troubled the land. Why did his father Saul trouble the land? Because his father Saul told nobody to eat anything, right, at this moment, right? And Jonathan didn't hear the oath. Everybody else did. Jonathan didn't hear the oath, but it worked out in Jonathan's favor, because what did he say that happened, right? In verse 27, you'll see that Jonathan took his rod and dipped it into the honeycomb, right? And it came out and he tasted the honey. And what happened when he tasted this honey? Let's read it again, right? Then said Jonathan, my father has troubled the land. See, I pray you, how my eyes have been enlightened because I tasted the little of this honey. Right? But what is this honey really symbolizing? Right? Let's go back to Psalms 19, verse 8. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure. What does it do? Enlightening the eyes. So what is really enlightening his eyes, right? These scriptures are a lot of times parabolic, and you got to really get deep into these scriptures, right? Brother Naquam said it best. You really got to get nasty with these scriptures, right? You got to take serious time out of your day to analyze this stuff, because it all lines up at the end of the day, right? It says that his eyes was enlightened after he ate this honey. And from Psalms, it lets us know what enlightens the eyes is the law, statutes, and commandments. And in the very next verse, it tells you that the law, statutes, and commandments are equated with honey and the honeycomb, right? So a lot of these things line up, you know what I'm saying? And if you just think about it, right, about enlightening your eyes, like take for instance, for those of us that fast, right, you go on a fast. I suffer from it sometimes, from time to time. And what happens is you fasting, you're not really in the mood. You got bad moods, man. You're very stern, right? You're not very talkative. You know what I'm saying? You kind of, you can't think straight. You know what I'm saying? I often find when I'm fasting, man, that's when I tend to forget the most, right? Can't think straight. Yeah, you just off your game, man, right? And what happens at the end of that fast? At the end of that fast, when you eat your meal or whatnot, and whatever it may be, right? You just pumped up. You know what I'm saying? You're happy. Your feet start to tapping and whatnot while you're eating, while you're consuming. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been enlightened, right? That food has enlightened you, right? What's another example we can use? For all my basketball players, right? In high school, there's a player, Georgia's own. His name was Colin Sexton. What did he do before every game? Before he came out and shook everybody's hands, you know what I'm saying? They doing their little handshakes and whatnot. Before he did that, he's sitting on the bench, right? Getting focused. And what does he do to enlighten his eyes, right? To get focused for the game? He always, hey, who got it? Who got them Skittles? Who got them Skittles? This man would literally eat a bag of Skittles right before he came onto the court. He pouring it in his hand. He's shaking them, right? He's shaking them. Why? Because that sugar and them Skittles is gonna enlighten his eyes, right? That sugar. Matter of fact, to hone in on that, have any of y'all ever been around a diabetic and their blood sugar goes low or high or whatever it does when they start acting, you know what I'm saying, not themselves, right? I remember we were in back when we used to go to church, man. There was a lady in the pew and she started acting crazy, man. At first everybody thought she was kind of possessed. Then somebody noticed that she was a diabetic and her blood sugar had got out of hand. Somebody was like, man, hey, anybody have a peppermint? Anybody have a some orange juice to give this sister? Because she wasn't acting herself, right? To get her back on track, she needed some honey, right? Something sweet, something to enlighten her eyes to bring her back to, you know what I'm saying, her rightful, you know what I'm saying, state of being. Or pouring dog food into the bowl in front of a dog. Exactly, man, right? Have you ever seen your dog enlightened, bro? If you ever, matter of fact, how do you, what's the number one way of training a dog when you first get a dog or a puppy, right? The number one way is to give him treats. If you want your dog to be enlightened to what you got going on, right? If you want your dog to be enlightened to paying attention and being obedient, you're going to give him some treats, right? If the moment you around your dog, you say treat and they go crazy. They go crazy, right? The moment they hear that the kibble hitting the bowl, the aluminum bowl, they go crazy. They go crazy. Why? Because they're being enlightened, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way with this Bible, right? You got certain things where, you know what I'm saying, you are getting enlightened through these scriptures, right? The law, statutes, and commandments, they're supposed to be when we hear the law, statutes, and commandments, right? That's supposed to be like your the owner of a dog saying, "Here's a treat," right? Before we go out into the world, if the world and our jobs and going to school and doing our responsibilities is the game, we're supposed to be like Colin Sexton, and we're supposed to be eating our Skittles before we go out. What are the Skittles? The law, statutes, commandments. We're supposed to be in this word before we start our day, before we go to bed, right? Before we do anything that requires any spiritual battle, right? And we know everything is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Before we do embark on any of that, we have to get enlightened first. And how we do this with these law, statutes, commandments, much like Colin Sexton in them Skittles, man, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 7. Isaiah 7 and 15. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 15. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse evil and to choose good, right? And this is plain, right? It says, butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose good. Is this talking about real butter and real honey? You telling me if you just go into your pantry and you get real butter, right? And you get real honey, all of a sudden after you eat that, you're going to know good from evil. No, it's not talking about actual butter and actual honey. It's talking about these law, statutes, and commandments that we went over in Psalms 19, verse 7, right? The honey represents the wisdom. And what is your wisdom, right? We're going to get that too. Perfect timing, right? The honey represents your wisdom, right? The wisdom lets you know right from wrong, good from evil, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy, verse 4 and verse 6. Chapter 4 and verse 6, right? Because what is your wisdom? What is your wisdom? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 6. I'm going to start at verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments. Even the Lord my God commanded me, right? The law, statutes, and commandments, that ye should do so in the land whither you go to possess it, right? Verse 6, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom. Keep therefore and do what? Real honey and real butter? No, it's talking about the law, statutes, and commandments. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments for what? This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of all the nations, right? This is going to allow you to know what's good from evil. Not actual real butter and actual real honey. These things are parabolic, right? They parallel. The brother said, Acts 2 and 28, you have made known to me the ways of life. You will make me full of your joy and presence, right? Come on. And when we all get that feeling of when he has made known to us, right, the ways of life, which are the law, statutes, and commandments, right, our eyes are enlightened, right? Very much so, like after a fast and you finally eat, right? Very much so when you need that morning coffee, right? Your eyes need to be enlightened for the day, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times your mind be out of whack, you know what I'm saying? And you ever heard somebody say this statement right here? Oh, don't mind me. I haven't had my morning coffee yet. Yeah, I haven't had my morning coffee yet, right? Oh, don't mind me. I haven't ate breakfast this morning, man. I don't know what I'm thinking, right? Because those things are supposed to jumpstart people. It enlightens them for the day to get their mind right, just like these scriptures, right? But Deuteronomy 4 and 6, right? What is our wisdom? These law, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 10 and verse number 10. A Snickers bar. A Snickers bar. I know everybody done seen the commercial, right? That word, your morning coffee. Exactly. This word is supposed to be our morning coffee. A Snickers bar. I know y'all seen them wild commercials where they're in a car, paraphrasing, they're in the car and homeboy in the back seat, everybody vibing, and they look back and it's an old grumpy Edomite man, right? Everybody in the car black, except for in the back seat is an old grumpy Edomite man, right? And they looking at him like, what the heck? And then the driver, what does the driver do? Oh, it's okay, bro, and throws him a Snickers bar. He eats the Snickers bar. His eyes are enlightened. Now he jamming out with the rest of the Jakes, right? Right? Because these laws, statutes, and commandments, the honey of the word, right? The sweetness of the word, right? We not ourselves without the word. We are not ourselves without the word. Without the word, what did Paul say? Paraphrasing, the things I want to do, I don't do. But the things that I do, I don't want to do it, right? What is he saying, right? Without this word, the things that you do are not necessarily the things that you want to do, that your spirit wants to do, right? Because without this word, you are not yourself. Without your morning coffee, you are not yourself. Without this word, without the honey, right? Your eyes aren't enlightened. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 10 and verse number 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, right? And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter, right? Just read it from the top. And I took the little book of the angel's hand and ate it up. And in my mouth, it was sweet as honey, right? Is this saying it's literally sweet? Is it got calories and all of that? No, it's all parabolic, right? And what does it say? It says the word, right? The little book. It calls it the little book, the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Or within the little portions of the Bible, the first 5 books, right? The little book, right? But it's sweet. It's sweet, right? Let's get Proverbs 24. Proverbs 24 and verse, I'm going to start at 13, right? My son, eat thou honey because it is good, and the honeycomb which is sweet to the taste. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. When thou hast found it, then there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. Right? What does it say? My son, eat thou honey because it is good, right? And the honeycomb, which is sweet to the taste. But according to Psalms 19 and 7, all the way down to 10, what do we know is compared to the honey and the honeycomb? These laws, statutes, and commandments. That's exactly why in verse 14 it says, so shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul, right? The knowledge of wisdom is unto your soul as honey is to when it hits your taste buds. When that honey hits your taste buds, everybody done tasted honey before, right? Everybody done tasted honey before, and when that honey hit your taste buds, it's a taste that everybody is familiar with, right? It does something to you, right? When you're sick, it soothes your throat, right? When you're not sick, you just know it's that it gives you that warmth, right? That sweetness that gives you that warmth when you taste it, right? It's the same thing with this word when it hits your soul, right? When knowledge and wisdom enter your soul, right? The brother said Ecclesiasticus 39 and verse 26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, and iron, and salt. And a lot of these are parabolic too, right? You got the water, the living waters, right? You got fire, right? Representing the churches. You got iron, right? Because we gotta, what's more principle than keeping a sword on us at all times, right? Because iron sharpens iron, right? And salt, right? Salt. We gotta be salty, right? What is this word? What is this world if our salt loses its savor? You know what I'm saying? We got to be salty, right? Flour of wheat, because a little leaven leavens the whole lump. And then it goes into honey, right? Honey, the law, statutes, and commandments. It's a principal thing for our life. Why? Verse 14. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. That's why. Right? And even going on to milk, right? A lot of times when you read milk, it's compared to the pure doctrine. Paraphrasing, it says that Christ's teeth were white as milk, right? It says that how can we understand doctrine if we're not weaned from the milk. A lot of times milk is compared to that pure doctrine, just like honey is compared to these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 3. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse number 3. Slack you. Here we go. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat and fill thy bowels with this roll I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Right? This is all parabolic talk, right? This is all parabolic talk. And it's just like when you if you ever sick and you put that honey in your tea, right? When it gets down in your stomach, man, it done soothe your throat. You probably had a scratchy throat, man. It done soothe your throat. It's in your stomach for warmth, right? That's the same way as what? And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat the food, eat and fill thy bowels with this roll. What roll is it talking about, right? The roll that is really talking about is the Torah, right? The first 5 books of the Bible, right? Which encompasses the law, statutes, and commandments. And within the law, statutes, and commandments, right, it's supposed to be sweet in your stomach as to honey. Con. Let's go to Proverbs, and I'm almost done, man. Let's go to Proverbs 27 and verse 7. Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 27. And thou shalt have goat's milk enough for thy food, for the food of thy household, and for the maintenance for thy maidens. 27. Oh, Salaki, that was 27 and 27. Let's do 27 and 7, right? This is verse 7. The full soul loatheth and honeycomb, but the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet, right? I'm going to read it from the top. The full soul, right? When you're full, you hate what loath means. You hate the honeycomb. The full soul hates the honeycomb. But the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet, right? What do we see right here? We see the people that have knowledge that's puffeth up, right? They hate knowledge. People that hate knowledge. What does the Most High say about those that reject knowledge? I will also reject you, right? But the hungry soul loves every bitter thing. Every bitter thing is sweet, right? So they don't hate the honeycomb as the full soul, but not only do they love the honeycomb, even when it becomes bitter, right? If you ever back in the world, me and my wife, we had a YouTube channel, man, and one of the challenges that we did was we ate a raw honeycomb, and when I tell you, man, honey is sweet, but when you actually eat that raw honeycomb, the Bible also says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." My people perish for a lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very strong precept, right? But as I was saying, man, if you ever ate a raw honeycomb, you'll see how bitter it is, and you'll see how, you know what I'm saying, how somebody cannot like it. You know what I'm saying? But it says that the hungry soul, that every bitter thing is sweet. And how can we connect that to today, right? As those of us walking in this truth, right? What does the Most High say, right? When you come into this truth, prepare yourself for temptation. Prepare yourself for persecution, right? Matter of fact, let's get James chapter 1, right? James 1 and verse 2. And it reads, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations," right? It says that it says the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet. It's waxy, right? Right. It's bitter and it's waxy. And it kind of make you gag, right? But to the hungry soul, it's sweet, right? He wants to get to that part, that waxy part, right? That uncomfortable part, that that the part where you can't really bite, you can't really chew, you can't really get through it. You can't really get to the point where you can digest it. The hungry soul loves that part. Why? Because he says right here, James 1 and 2, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, when you fall into persecution, when you come into this truth, right? And you're persecuted. What does persecution look like? Right? You might lose your job, right? Somebody might find out you was one of them Hebrew Israelites, right? Your job is at hand, right? We done talked to several brothers where they done pulled them into the office, right? And HR is there and like, hey, look, all of this information came up when we put up your name, right? You're associated with all these hate groups and whatnot. We can't have you on board no more. You got to count that all joy, right? You got to count that all joy. That's what our brother James is saying. Paul said, hey, look, we are made barbarians to everybody, right? We're accounted fools for Christ's sake. You know what I'm saying? What does persecution look like in this truth, right? That is sweet, right? We talk about this all the time. My brother Miles is on here, I think. He'll contest to this, right? We count it all joy when we get the news and it says that America's at the brink of war, right? We count it all joy because we know our salvation is at hand, right? Every bitter thing is sweet to us. When we see these scriptures come to life, every bitter thing is sweet. Whether it's colloquially good or bad, it's sweet to us in every aspect. Why? Because we know that this word is true. And if the Most High said it was going to happen and it comes to pass, whether if it's a good thing or a bad thing, we know that's a beautiful sight. That's reassurance and insurance that we know that what we believe in is the truth, right? Even in prophecy, right? This place has to go. And a lot of people will say, well, God didn't give us a spirit of fear. I know he didn't give us a spirit of fear because every bitter thing is sweet. That's why, right? Con, sis, con, right? What's some other, like a sports player, right? A sports player. Y'all ever heard that statement or that famous quote? I forgot who it was, but he said he loved working out so much. That man said, "We don't start counting reps until it hurts. We don't start counting reps until it hurts." A lot of times in this truth, that's what we got to do. Right now, it's easy to be an Israelite, right? It doesn't count right now when it's easy. It does not count to be an Israelite, to know what you're in the truth, right? To walk in the truth. It doesn't count right now. When it counts is when it hurts. When it starts to hurt, that's when it counts. He says he doesn't start counting his reps until his arm starts burning, right? I'm trying to tell you, this thing comes to life, right? Let's see. And so I'll say this in my conclusion. We'll go to Psalms 119, right? Psalms 119. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 119, a mighty chapter, right? A mighty chapter, 119 and verse 60, right? And it reads, I made haste and delayed not to keep the commandments, right? Just like you get up out of bed or when you sick or just like you're just in need of a throat lozenge, right? Or some tea with some honey. Just like, hey, after a fast, just like you make haste after a fast to get that meal in, right? What does it say? Verse 60, I made haste and delayed not, right? Say your fast end at 7:00 p.m., right? You watching. As much of us want to be mighty and we want to, you know what I'm saying, endure the whole fast. We watching that clock. We watching that clock. And when 7:00 hit, what do we do? We make haste to the kitchen and delay not. Don't talk to me. Don't do nothing. Don't call my phone. If you call my phone, I'm going to tell you, hold up. I haven't ate all day. I'm finna eat. I'm going to hit you right back. Right? I made haste and delayed not. Right? This is a beautiful scripture. I'm going to read it again. I made haste and delayed not to keep the commandments. Right? I made haste and delayed not to keep the commandments. Right? You truly don't feel like an Israelite until you have gone through some tribulations. And that's facts, right? I know everybody pretty much that I know that has came into this truth, right? Be fooled by 703. God, be fooled by 703. No lie, right? I'll be fooled I'll be on the couch. Hey, my wife, she'll be like, you want some more? I'll be like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like she said, right? We truly don't know what it's like to be an Israelite until you face persecution. That's why God said, when you come into this thing, prepare yourself, right? This is not for the weak, right? To whom much is given, much is required. And even when it hurts, you got to keep wanting it, right? I remember playing basketball, and we used to do dribbling drills, right? And if you know anything about dribbling drills, your arm muscles be getting on fire, right? Right? And then that's when everybody started getting, whenever anything got tough during practice, right? That's when everybody got hyped. We was amazing for doing that in high school, right? One thing I can say about our high school basketball team, when anything ever got tight, right? When the game was ever on the line, we always got hyped, right? Arms started burning, right? My assistant coach, his name was John Harris, right? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to John Harris. He see us, all of our faces all scrunched up. We dribbling. He be like, 10 seconds. He said, let's go. 10 seconds, let's go, let's get it. Then everybody else start clapping, right? Everybody else start clapping, right? And you just get that fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? And you do it over and over and over again. You want that atmosphere. You're hungry for that atmosphere, right? Like it said, right? It said the full soul, he hates the honeycomb. Just like I told you, I can't make this up. At 7:03, when I get full, and my wife asked me, do you want some more? And I say, no, I'm good. That's me hating the honeycomb spiritually, right? Not for real, but spiritually, right? But the hungry soul, right? Every bitter thing is sweet, right? Every bitter thing is sweet. You know what I'm saying? You get the people that have the meal, right? And they eat everything. I know some people that eat the chicken wing bones, right? You know what I'm saying? Couldn't be me, but some people do that. I don't really like eating fat, you know what I'm saying? Off of meat and stuff like that. Some people love it, right? Hey, in the world, we used to eat terrible things like chitlins, right? We was hungry for worldly stuff, but we got to be hungry for these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? You know what I'm saying? I told you I wouldn't be long. So this is a quick exhortation on understanding honey through the scriptures, right? And as we can tell, our benchmark scripture was Psalms 19, 7 through 10. The law, statutes, and commandments are as sweet as honey from the honeycomb, right? And so we got to keep these law, statutes, and commandments, as Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 say, fear God and keep these commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, right? And with that, I'm going to say shalom. Y'all study hard, Israel. Until next time. And we going to get better, and we're going to stop dropping the ball when it comes to edifying Israel and pushing these videos out, right? Shalom. Y'all have a good night, man.